Hello everyone and welcome to episode 56 of the Northstar podcast. Today we are going to be talking about holiday eating and how to navigate it as Christmas is 1 week away. So we wanted to hop on here and explain to you guys some tips and tricks just to go over the holidays and some things just to understand as you navigate the holidays, as I know for some of you it can be a time of anxiety, especially being around foods that you're not used to, and going to events and just being around an environment that is different. So we wanted to hop on here and just go over that, and I'm going to now pass it off to Akam, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about, the topics that we're going to go over.
Yes, sir. So ain't nobody wanting to get fat for the holidays. So we're going to be chatting about...
We're direct here at Northstar.
Oh yeah. We're going to be talking about how you can fix your mindset when it comes to foods. Main thing is going to be so you don't feel guilty and you're not overly restricting, because there's ways to work around it, and we're here to teach you that. The 80-20 rule is a big rule we're going to chat about. Some simple tactics to do before your events, during your events, after events. And we're definitely going to go into drinking because we always get questions regarding that. Some BAMs, which are bare minimum habits to follow. What to do with movement, recovery. And then finally, we're going to finish off with what to do with the leftovers. All right? So you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, let's talk about mindset. So I find that a lot of people think is that they're going to eat a few big meals and they're just magically going to gain an insane amount of weight. That's something I get from clients all the time. And what I really dislike about that approach is that I find it's an all or nothing approach, that people get so scared when it comes to foods where they think, okay, holidays are up, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna eat that. Should I fully cut out foods? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I socially distance myself away from other people? And at the end of the day, it's like, if you build up with the right habits, you stick to consistently, you know what you're gonna do, you have a plan. That's a really big thing, having a plan before the holidays hit, having a plan during the holidays, and afterwards, you're not gonna have to do this huge rebound effect, and you're not gonna have to yo-yo. So that's one thing I find with mindset. Do you want to chime in at all with anything?
Yeah, I think what Akam was saying in regards to just understanding a plan, I think when we plan, we don't also mean it has to be something that's going to stress you out.
Like a meal plan or...
Yeah, it's more of having an understanding of, okay, where am I going? What situation am I putting myself into? And just talking yourself through it. It doesn't have to be, you sit down and write out, an hour long, paragraph about, okay, if this food's here, I can only just go into it having some sort of understanding of, okay, if I am going to a buffet style event, let's say, right? Maybe that's having a one plate rule where, you fill up a plate of food with as much protein, veggies, fruit, obviously add a little bit of things that you enjoy as well, but have that plate first, fill yourself up with it, digest it, let it sit for a couple minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And then if you want a little bit more, have that after, or, having that as having a small dessert plate as well. Go into it having some sort of plan, like I said, so that you're not just going to go into it and, buffet turns into 20 plates later. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we all love buffets, we all love potlucks, but I love the idea of just having variety. So going into it, going all right, instead of taking so many different things, right, just try a little bit of everything. And another thing that I love, a little tip, is going with a colorful plate. So if you notice that you're picking way too many brown foods, way too many carbs, just think, hey, maybe let me try some veggies. Let me try this. Try to get your plate nice and colorful, because it's also going to be very nutrient dense. And the more nutrient dense it is, there's a higher chance you're going to be feeling more full, because you're getting less empty calories at the end of the day and more satiating foods. And yeah, the thing with having the mindset that food is the enemy is really going to I guess, build that guilt and kind of set you up for failure. I think with planning, a good thing to do is just think about, I love to say, don't fully, you don't have to do this, but I like to say, if you track your calories just for a bit, maybe 2-3 days, or do a food log so you have an understanding of what you're eating, what times you're eating. And then another thing is, if you're going to this event and if it's way past your regular meal time, maybe don't eat as much. But having a good idea of I love tracking, because when you track foods, you understand, okay, this food's this many calories. It builds a nice awareness. And then when you go into it, you kind of look into it, it's all right, this is this many calories. But as long as you don't take that mindset way too literally and going, okay, I need to be to the T at this exact goal, you'll be fine.
Yeah, there's two things I think I want to add on to that too is front loading the day of so knowing that when you get to that meal, you've already hit most of your nutrients. So, making your lunch and let's say it's a dinner that you're going to, making your breakfast, lunch, very high protein, very high veggies, very high fruit, very high fiber. So once you get into that dinner, then you're less likely to probably overconsume as well because you're already so full from the day of. And that way that'll help as well. And then going off the mindset thing that you said, not going into it saying, I can't have this, or I can't do this, or I am not allowed this, because you're going to want it more.
Exactly.
So going into it understanding, okay, if there is dessert, or if there is, I don't know, a drink that you like, allow yourself a range. Like, okay, I'm going to have 2 to 3 desserts, or I'm going to have, like, when I mean desserts, like buffet style, right? Probably don't have, like, well, you can if you want to have a whole cake, but, that's probably not going to make you feel good. Not just digestively, but also you're probably going to be like, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah.
So, but going into it, having the approach of, okay, I'm going to have a range, if that's drinks, if that's desserts. I've also liked it in the past where I've talked to clients and I've said, okay, what's more worth it to you? Is it having drinks? Is it having desserts? And if they say both, then I'm like, okay, but have a range. If that's dessert and drink, maybe 1 to 3. If it's just drinks, 1 to 3. If it's just dessert, 1 to 2. Whatever you have, but going into it with an approach where you're like, okay, I'm going to allow myself to have this within a range, an appropriate range that I feel is going to be something that I'm actually going to enjoy and I'm not going to feel left out on.
I love that. Yeah, that's a really big thing because it's also going to mentally make you stronger, which is going to be a big thing. You're going to feel more in control if you set this range and this goal and you go in strong-minded and obviously front loading and doing the preparations before, such as, like you said, eating a lot of fiber. And I think hydration is a big thing, being very well hydrated, because I think a lot of people going into like these events when it's like a big dinner or anything, they don't eat too much leading up to it. They're like, oh, I know I'm going to have a big dinner, so I'm just going to go there and then I'll eat like crazy. But if you stick to what you already consistently do, don't skip it on your breakfast, don't skip it on your lunch, still eat that, aim for some high fibrous foods. I always say, like, try to eat a little bit small, low-calorie snacks. Like, fruits are a really good thing leading up to it, just so it doesn't, like, have that big appetite spike. And then water, because if you drink a lot of water, you're not going to feel like eating like crazy.
Yeah, and I think, going off that, too, it's like I've heard people in the past, like, going before the event having, maybe 2 scoops of protein powder. Like, having something high protein with maybe a piece of fruit, right? Going into it already having something, then once you get to the dinner, if you've already had 50 grams of protein and you've had, let's say, an apple or whatever kind of fruit that you had, you're going to be way less likely to overconsume because you're also full from that protein still digesting, the fiber, everything's still going. Or you can go to the approach of, like I said, going front loading breakfast and lunch and just reducing the amount of carbohydrates and fats that you would have in that meal. So if you're used to having, 50 grams of carbs in your breakfast, for example, as a normal quote unquote day, maybe just go to like 20, right? Maybe 15, 20, whatever. Or maybe there is a low carb meal that you have and it's just protein and fats. Whatever it is, whatever you find that works best for you, do it where it's going to feel like it's actually going to be sustainable, and don't feel like you can't go into these events as well and enjoy yourself. Yes,
exactly. Another little thing that I feel like will relate to a lot of my Desi followers, all the Brown guys. We all know that, like, in Brown households, whenever you go to a Brown household for holidays, they're always pushing, no, eat this. There's like a common saying, like, put agas. So that means like, they'll, like, especially when there's like aunts or aunties and uncles, they'll be like, oh no, eat this, eat this, eat this. And then they put like that, not like a shame, but they really put a lot of pressure in eating food. I find a big thing is sharing food. You don't have to always say no, but like, okay, I'll take a small amount, have some variety, but also sharing it, right? Like if you have family members, instead of like eating your own big meals, sharing just a little bit with each other as well. That helps a lot when it comes to those type of events. Do you want to go into...
Can I just say something? And be okay with throwing it out.
Yeah, you don't have to always eat it. Like
I think that's a big misconception too, right?
Yeah, people are like, I have to eat it. I have to eat it.
Yeah, you have to eat it. Like, if you're not, like today, for example, I had a meal. I didn't finish the whole meal, right? It's like, that's okay. I wasn't hungry. Like, that's not something I wanted to fully eat. Yeah, if you look at food waste, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a lot of food waste at the end of the day, and also too, it's something that it's just gonna make me feel worse. Not per se mentally. I've built a really good relationship now with food, and I understand it better because I've been doing it for so long. But physically, I don't want to feel like that.
Yep.
Right. I don't want to feel physically, where I can't like feel like I can't even like lie down because I'm so full and I'm like, ugh, and I'm just slowly like
sweat and
withering away because I've eaten too much. Right.
Yeah.
So that's something as well.
And man, if you really feel bad about it and you think it's that big, screw it. Go to the homeless. Donate the food. They'll need it more than you.
If you have leftovers, or you have like a neighbor, or you have other family members that are there, give it to them.
Yeah,
have them take it home if they
exactly. That's what I do. I preach that all the time. It's like, okay, I got neighbors. My neighbors, I'm like, hey, you guys okay with that? And they love it. So it might make someone's day. So
I got a little drink hack.
Okay,
I used to do. I don't drink anymore. Yeah, I not because I'm anti-drinking or. I just don't like it. I just find for myself having a drink is not. I don't enjoy it. It doesn't taste really good to me.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right? What I used to do though is when I didn't want to drink as much, I would have a drink in my hand the whole time, no matter what.
So no one would offer you a drink?
So no one would offer me a drink, right? Because what people do is if you don't have anything in your hand and something's empty, it's, why don't you have another one?
Yeah, take it home. Right? Exactly.
But if you have something in your hand, unless you're somebody double fisting, sure. But, usually most of the times, someone's not going to offer you a drink if you already have one in your hand, right? So what I would do is I would hold either an empty can or I would hold it.
Those red Solo cups? Just can't tell.
I even once, I remember I was, I just didn't feel like drinking that night. Like it was just, I was out with friends. I just didn't feel like it. It wasn't because I was in a deficit or I was whatever, right? So what I did is I went up to the bar. I asked for a glass of water, right? And then I held that glass of water all night, and nobody told me, what are you drinking? And I was just, vodka soda.
Just straight vodka soda.
Yeah, vodka soda, whatever. And people are hammered. They're not going to be
exactly, right? Because people are going to be drunk themselves.
No, you're not. You're not drinking a vodka soda. Let me taste it. Nobody wants to taste a vodka soda. Right?
Yeah.
There's little things that you can do, right? And but that's how I have found to do it. And I think at the end of the day, it's not something that you're going to probably feel a lot better about yourself too, making the choice that made you feel better.
Yeah, over
not what that
pressure.
person is pressuring you to do or that family member or, those things because you want to do it because it's going to make you feel better and you're making that choice for yourself.
Yeah. Right? Got to follow through with the will. Yeah. Exactly. All right. I love that. That's a great story. That's I think that can help a lot of people. Yeah. Simple tactics that work. So like we mentioned before, not skipping meals if you need to. Just let's just sum it up, to lower your actual macros leading up to it. Eating high protein snacks. That's always a go-to. Like you said, with the 2 protein shakes, having the 2 scoops. We talked about, just to summarize all this stuff, we chatted about drink the meals. You got the water trick. You have filling your plates with veggies. They're obviously going to be high fiber, going to keep you a lot more full. Eating slowly. Did we chat about that? Actually, instead of taking your time eating the food, instead of
said, take time to digest after before going to another meal. But eating slowly.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's a big thing. Just there's so many more actual health benefits of chewing your food down properly and slowly, not just gulping your food down. Picking treats you genuinely want. What do you think about that? So when you see stuff.
So I'm just gonna reverse one step because you said something that I think is going to be really important to understand when it comes down to the overall well-being and understanding of the meal itself. Because let's say doing buffet style, like I said, maybe your first plate is just protein, veggies, and fruit, and that's all you have for your first plate. Because in a buffet, unless there's a shortage of a specific food, which usually there isn't, but you can go back. I think that's the misconception. We see all this food and we're we have to have it now before it's all gone, right? Or, maybe it is a family event and I don't know. For me, I go to family events. Usually if I go back, there's still the food there. I haven't really been to a family event where one thing is gone. And
honestly, props to them if there's people who go to that because that's hard to accomplish.
Yeah, I was for me personally, but maybe that's just my family dynamic where it's there's still something of that
to
at
reach
the end
out
of
to
the
if you need to.
right? but yeah, going into just those kind of rules
Yeah.
or guidelines. I like not rules, more guidelines. And yeah, just kind of
Ask yourself, do you genuinely want this? Do you need this? If you genuinely want it, take it, right? There's no guilt. Like you said, this is a year-round thing. It's not like one meal is going to, like we said in the beginning, is going to make you like crazy obese overnight, right? Same with if you do one rep or one workout, you're not going to gain a crazy amount of muscle. It just takes discipline and consistency over the time and just having the right habits.
Yeah, and you know, when you said about having foods that you actually like or enjoy, you know, I like to go into it for like a dessert, let's say, because that's what I guess more people's sweets or however it is. You know, I like to rate it from a scale to 1 to 5. Let's say,
Okay, yeah.
Right? So I go into it being like, is this something that I actually want? Like that's a 5. Like a 5 is like, if it's there, I'm having it. It's my favorite dessert. My family member, I only get it once a year.
You know you're not going to eat a lot, yeah.
Like, for me, it's my aunt. She makes gingerbread cookies.
Nice.
Have it once a year. Man, that's my thing. I love them. She does it for me. She's been making them for me since I can remember, man. Yeah, since I can remember, man. Like, I actually, like,
cool.
Since I remember. Anyways, and those would be something like I love. Those are something that I enjoy because
it's experience.
Well, I never get it either.
Yeah.
Right? I
think experience eating it. Yeah.
She doesn't make them, you know, throughout. Probably if I were like, hey, can I have some? Then maybe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if that's something that if I was gonna go into it and look at like a treat, that would be something. You know, if there's like a Tim Hortons Krispy Kreme donut or Timbit, I can go buy that anytime I want.
Exactly.
I can go out and go do that. And I think that going into it will also help as well. So.
Yeah. No, I love that. We chatted about drinking just a bit. I was going to say another little tip is like having more water in between drinks. Obviously, we know that alcohol is going to make you dehydrated. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting dehydrated, you're going to want to fill up on water. And the more water you drink, well, I like to say, try to increase the amount of times you need to go to the bathroom. So you like just drink a bunch of water. So you just constantly in the bathroom. You don't have time to drink. You're just having to go to the bathroom all the time. But what are your thoughts on when it comes to people who know they're going to drink and they might be that person that you said, the person who is peer pressuring, right? Should they be picking the lower calorie alcohols over time? It's,
you know, you can kind of go towards that. Obviously, it's going to help with your overall calorie consumption. Yep. But I like the rule of going into it with having a range of drinks.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because you can go in and have, you know, a low calorie drink, but you can have 20 of them.
Just to try to even it up because you're like, oh, it's like...
you know, you have 20 shots, like, okay, cool. You know, they're probably about 100 calories each, right? So, depending on the shot, of course. But, you know, if you're looking at that, in that aspect, right? So, there's ways to go about it. I think also, too, in all honesty, and I've seen it more and more, people just don't find drinking as cool. Yeah, you say cool. Yeah, it's not as, I guess. I think more and more people are understanding more how it makes them feel.
Yeah, we're also getting more health conscious, which is good.
Yeah, way more health conscious. Like, it's not as popular, and there's actually stats showing that it's not as popular. Liquor sales are down. Like, that is a thing.
Yeah.
There's still generations before that are, you know, still have lived with it and are still in that, you know, demographic. But I find personally it's just not becoming, like, as we get older and other generations coming, I just don't find it as popular either.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who does like to drink, then there are ways you could go about it where I guess you could go with like a lower calorie option, but also too, if you just go in with a range and you're not someone who tends to drink a lot, that won't usually bring you over to the edge either, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, me personally, I just like to ask myself, am I going to be able to drive? If it's something that's going to inhibit me to doing a simple task like driving, is it worth it? And then usually asking that question, is it worth it? Do I really want it? Do I need it? Am I just doing this because other people are doing it? Just asking yourself those questions beforehand or during. It's a hard thing. It takes it's a skill to build up to you, no doubt about it. But building up to that skill and just building that awareness, because at the end of the day, awareness is huge when it comes to that. Yeah. Cool. All right, we covered through a lot. Want to talk about some movement and recovery strategies?
Just on the holidays in general?
Yeah, and holidays.
Yeah,
because people are going to be indoors, more snow. We'll see if there's any snow here.
I think at the end of the day, it's if you're with family, friends, trying to encourage everyone to do something together. Yeah. Right? Like, that's important. I think it's easier when you do it in a group too. You know, if you're the only one doing it, it's kind of hard sometimes to get yourself out there. If everyone's just like on the couch chilling and doing whatever, and
Just
you're
watching TV and stuff.
yeah, and you're
It's
the
like-
one, like, you know, maybe go for a walk with someone in your family, or in between your meals. Let's say maybe before dinner you go for a little walk, and then after you go for a little walk.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of benefits of just doing that. On
yeah,
Saturday.
and it's, you know, it's the dynamic as well. But I would never go into it punishing yourself
Exactly.
or if you did overeat.
Yep.
And overeating, like, that's the thing. I think a lot of times people get the misconception that when you overeat, you gain this weight on the scale. That means you've gained fat. At the end of the day, the amount of calories you have to overconsume on,
It's 3,500, I think, just for
35
like one.
over, what you already burned.
Yeah.
Right? So, which, you could say that at the end of the day, give or take. Obviously, some people are going to metabolize that differently.
Yep.
But usually a rule of thumb, I guess 35 is where you would, quote unquote, technically gain a pound of body fat. But even then, you think of it like you have to digest the food. You have to, if you had any extra movement that day, most of the times, most people, and this usually happens, if you have more calories, you just tend to move more, right? You have more energy.
More energy to burn.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
more energy to burn. So you automatically move, more without
subconsciously.
Yeah, subconsciously. You just do it. That's just what the body does, right?
Yeah.
So one day isn't the one thing that's going to overdo it. So if you go in the next day punishing yourself, you're just starting a vicious cycle. Right?
Absolutely.
If you just go into it like your normal day, like
Yep.
not that nothing happened, you can probably learn from it. There's ways to understand, okay, what happened? How did I get to that point? Obviously reflect a little bit, but go into it like nothing happened. Like it was just another day. Go into it. You know, you might not be as hungry the next day too. Like that's normal as well. And if you just go back to your normal, the scale weight's going to go back down in 3 days usually.
Yeah,
Goes right back to what it was before. Usually that weight gain is water, sodium, extra food volume, all those other things as well. So
yeah, I love that. And another thing I like to time into is going to be your sleep. This obviously, if you're drinking heavily, it's going to be harder to get quality sleep. But sleep is a secret fat loss weapon. If you're getting more sleep, you're going to have less cravings the next day, which is going to lead to less of that cycle actually getting worse and worse and worse. So
yeah, and I think at the end of the day too, like with the vicious cycle is, trying to get yourself out of that mindset of beating yourself up as fast as you can.
Yes. Yeah.
I know that's very easy for me to say at this moment, but even if that's talking to a friend, or if you have a coach, or if that's just talking to yourself, writing it down, whatever it is, the faster you can get out of feeling the guilt that would happen before, the quicker you'll just get back on track. And like I said, most of the times, that one day, it isn't the end all be all. It's not going to make or break it. And anyone that knows,
you got bigger problems, right?
Well, anyone that knows that it's lost body fat doesn't happen in one night.
Yep.
And it's the same by gaining fat. You don't gain 20 pounds of fat in one night, right? It's the same vice versa, right? You're not going to just gain all that weight back in one day. You're also not going to lose that weight in one day as well.
Exactly.
Right? So.
Yeah. So it takes a little bit of that mental, I guess. What's the word? Patience.
Yeah.
And last thing, I would just say handling leftovers. I would just say very simple. Like you said, give it to your neighbors, share, send it home with the guests, right? Freezing any portions if you want to have it for later. Being smart with it. Try not to eat you might want to just eat just your meats or everything, but try to balance it out. Try to eat it with your fruits and your vegetables just to get more variety in your meals. And if you build your meals around your leftovers, especially with the veggies, with the fruits, a lot of hydration, it's going to be easier to just actually use it to benefit you versus feeling regretful of it.
Well, and like I said before, it's like if you don't want the leftovers, nobody else wants the leftovers.
Donate.
You can throw it out, donate it, give it away, whatever it is. That is okay too. And I think more people need to hear that. I think a lot of times we think, depending on how you grew up, right?
Yep.
I know, for example, my grandparents, they grew up with a different, in a very different time where it's this is the food's on your plate, you have to eat it all no matter what. And a lot of the things that you've learned are most likely learned from your parents, your childhood, however those things are.
Possibly trauma.
So, there's so many different things, right? So knowing that about yourself and understanding that will also help you in the long run as well. So
cool.
Yeah.
I think that concludes episode 56.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to episode 56 of the Northstar podcast on holiday eating. Again, if you have any questions, Christmas is a week away.
Yeah, I guess you guys on Christmas.
You know, if you need any help in between that time or you're just struggling, please let one of us know and we'll go from there. Peace out.
See ya.